Hello colleagues, I've had a couple questions about this, so I wanted to provide a quick tutorial on a couple different ways to add video with embedded quizzes to your asynchronous content for the fall. And there are many different tools that can do this externally, but I'm going to focus on two ways of doing this in Canvas today because of the ability to record student progress and scores on that. So the one that gives you the most flexibility, but can sometimes take the most time to set up, is to actually do it as a quiz. So if you come down here to quizzes, we're going to create a new quiz. I'm going to call this the periodic, periodic table quiz. All right, typing has never been my strong suit. Okay, and you can put any sort of a description here. And here's where you can control some things about it, where you want it to be a graded quiz, you know, where you want it to appear in your grade book here. Shuffling the answers is nice so that students don't always say the same thing. If you're doing this as your asynchronous content, I recommend that you do not put a time limit on it. The allowing multiple attempts is up to you with that. Now, this is one that I've started to use quite a bit. I do want students to see their score, but not until everyone in the class has done it. So we'll just go ahead and put this at the end of August here. You can also hide the correct scores so that right before a test they disappear, but kids can screen capture, so I don't think that that really does it for there. All right, so decide who to send it to, and we're going to go ahead and save it because I just don't want to lose things. So we're going to go into Edit. And we're going to go to the questions themselves. And so we're going to have our first question here. And I'm actually going to make this just be a text question. So this is your first quiz. And I'm going to say, tell them to watch this video. Now, you have a couple different ways of putting video in. If you have your own content, you can do that with the insert or edit media, or if it's something that's from, for example, a YouTube video. I've got one just about the Element song here, so I'm going to tell it to search for that. This is the video that I want, so you can choose what size you want. If you want it just a link or something like that. So we're going to embed that, and then we're going to save that question. So when they first open it up, this is what they're going to see. And then we're going to create a new question or question underneath it, and we're going to have it multiple choice and say, I don't know, the first element listed is, and then hydrogen or helium. Actually, I don't think it's either one, but let's go ahead and just say as if it's helium. Okay, so we've got that. So you can do multiple choice questions. Another thing that works really well with these is to say something along the lines of, at 2 minutes in, or at 2, let's be more precise, minutes in, comma, what element is listed. So this way you can get students to go to a specific point in your video. You have lots of different options here. I'm going to go ahead and say that they need to do this one as a fill in the blank, so they just need to decide. You can give a lot of different options that you'll accept for auto grading if you want to do that. So we're going to do H and we're going to do hydrogen. Okay, we're going to accept either one of those. And then one of the other things you can do if you want to go a little more in depth with this is you can actually do a formula question. And these are things that I learned to use last semester and I found very useful. And so what is the molar mass of, let's say, C, put in a variable H, Y. Now this isn't the best variable because, or the best formula, because I'm going to make some impossible molecules here, but it'll give you an idea of how we do that. All right, so then I click and it gives me the options of my variables. So I want my carbons to be anywhere from 2 to 10, my hydrogens to be anywhere from 8 to 20. So of course you can see we're going to have some, ooh, that's a lot of hydrogens. So please make sure your formulas make sense. It gives you some options, and then you would just say, okay, this is equal to X times 12 plus Y times 1. And you can see the result that comes out here. So if this were a 7 and this were a 15, this is what you'd get. One of the nice things about this is you can say, okay, I have a lot of students, so we're going to make 50 different variations of this, and I want them to have, say, plus or minus 10%, and it will generate all of the options. The advantage of this is you can go through and you can see if anything funny happens. For instance, I had a question where all of a sudden we got negative masses because I'd done my formula wrong. You can have embedded formulas or embedded steps and things like that, but we're going to go ahead and update this question. So I've got myself a formula, I've got a free response, I've got a multiple choice. And there we go. If you want to, then with this type of quizzing, my recommendation is you break your videos up into smaller pieces. So you don't have students watching something really, really big and then trying to remember all of it. So I would do a new question and just say the next video, and then you can upload your next piece to it. You can have these text fields, you can have videos that don't have questions, you can have a lot of different things. And actually I'm finding that quizzes are a really good way to have the students work through a sequence of activities. And in fact, this is how I'm going to be doing my asynchronous labs this semester in Chem 203L. Now you can do it with pages, but the advantage here is that you have the embedded quizzes, and so you can ask questions throughout, and I really like that. So we're going to go ahead and save that. Okay, so that's one way of doing it, and then you can leave it open, so during the time period where students are supposed to be working on it, they can go back, they can change their answers and things like that. You can do that. All right. Now the other one that I used quite a bit last semester is something that you do down here on Studio. So if you go to Studio, this is an embedded tool, and some of this makes sense, some of it doesn't. So this is why I wanted to show it here. So I'm going to go to my library here, and this I did not find this tab for a long time. So click on the three lines here, and I go to my library, and I can see all of my videos. Now I've uploaded one here. These are ones that I did last semester. I just want to show you how we go ahead and add one. So I'm going to click on Add. And you have the options to add your own video files or use a YouTube link. So I'm going to put in my YouTube link. Now when you first add them to your library, they do not appear in a class. So you can manipulate them and do whatever you want to them before students see them. So what I'm going to do with this video is I'm going to go in and I'm going to create a quiz. And so again, you're going to give it a title, Elements Quiz, you know, whatever you want to call it. I do this where I hide the markers on the timer so that students don't know when quiz questions are going to come up. They actually have to watch the video to know that. So then we say get started. You got these. Okay, so we get to beryllium here. I'm going to say I want a question. Now, one of the main disadvantages to this tool is that you only have 3 types of questions. You can only do multiple choice, true, false, or multiple answer. The quizzes function lets you do all sorts of open-ended questions or just auto-graded ones. So if you do auto-graded ones, it'll finish it. If you do open-ended questions in the quizzing function, then you or a graduate student needs to go in and grade those questions, but it gives you much more flexibility. Here, you got to ask one of these options. So I'm going to say multiple choice. I'm going to say, I don't know, what do we want? Do we want to ask about beryllium or do we want to ask about something else? So I can say, you know what, that's not really where I wanted it. So we're going to discard this, and I'm going to jump around, and I'm going to say, okay, neon. There we go. All right, so we're going to ask here a multiple choice question. The atomic number of neon is, okay, 1, 2, or 10. Okay, and I guess that's the correct one. You can have it shuffle. The vary points by answer lets you give partial credit, which is kind of nice. You can have feedback for students if you want to. I'm going to go ahead and click save. Then I'm just going to jump ahead. You can watch it actually on different speeds if you want to, especially when you're watching yourself. Sometimes you don't want to do that. All right, I'm asking another question here. This video is fun. And they can say true or false, okay, and click save. All right, so once you put in all of your questions, and you can go back and edit a question if you want to, you say done. And you now have your video, and if you click on the 3 dots, you can see that we've created a quiz called Element Quiz. So the question becomes now, how do you assign this to your students? And this is where things get a little bit funny, and part of why I wanted to do this video. So I'm going to create an assignment, all right, and it has all the standard things that you can do with any sort of an assignment. Do not put the video into the main field. You'd think you would. I tried that. It's not pretty. The quiz will pop up, but it won't record any scores. So you can have a description, and so chemistry is fun. And then what you want to do is the submission type is you need to choose the external tool. You say find. And remember, we created this in Studio. So you go to Studio. Then you have all of the videos that you've got, and you can choose whichever one you want. Okay, we're going to choose this. And then you need to click on Video in Quiz Embed. Now, you can actually have multiple quizzes on a single video. So you can ask different questions each year. So we're going to choose on Element Quiz. I'm going to say embed this. And then I have to select one more time. And you're ready. Now, the multiple attempts is a little bit of an issue because in theory, letting them try more than once is great. However, this version of the tool will show them the answers at the end of the video. So if you want a little more security, then use the quiz function. You can limit it to one attempt, but as soon as one person does it, then they can share that with somebody else. But if you want people just to redo it as many times to get as many points as they can, this is a great option for doing that. And then you would just say save and publish. And it's there. Now, after the quiz goes and students are going, I don't have anything here, but you can see how far they get through the quiz. The quiz results will give you an item analysis report, and you can also look up individual students. So you do get data here, not quite as much as you do in the quiz function, but it is still there. Okay? So hopefully that will help with a couple different ways to embed videos with quizzes to help it be